Let's appreciate. Tumpigie makofi. Thank you, Bwana Eric, for your eloquence. At least watu wameelewa. And at this juncture, kwa sababu tumeelezwa kulingana na vile bylaw yetu iko, we require to adopt, we get a proposal in a SECCO such that we go to the next step of questions and answers. Then I hand over back the session to our consultant for any other explanation. The pale mwishowe, we go to the other agenda for adoption and resolutions. Si hapo ni vizuri? Bwana Chair, allow me to get a proposal and a SECCO. Proposal na SECCO inamaanisha kulingana na hii mkataba na kulingana na vile the notice was. It is true indeed that it was presented. That's why we have the sub-county cooperative officer representing the ministry. So we require somebody, a member, to say, yenyewe, it was presented. Okay, Bwana Gaido. Member number, Bwana Gaido. Gaido Motora. I may propose. Let us get a SECCO.
My name is Harun Parsen, member number 9244. I second.
Okay, we have adopted the amendment. So at this juncture, tutaenda kipindi ingine. I'll pick 3 questions. If there is any, tunajibu. Then I pick another 3. Ikiwa uko na swali umeandika mahali, usikose kuuliza. This is your day. Kuna mtu ako na swali? Yes, you indicate your member number, your name, because we are recording for minute purposes.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Simon Washira Joki from Dagoretti, member number 11468. First is to commend our today's facilitator, Bwana Eric, umetuelezea vizuri sana. And my question would be, actually I have two. So are there rules that delegates abide to? Maybe within the SACCO or the rules that are provided by SASRA. And my question number 2, now in case where a delegate is suspended from office, do they cease being a member of the SACCO? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tupate swali lingine. Another 2 questions, such that I hand over the mic to the facilitator for any clarification. Wacha tuongee. Yes.
Okay, my name is Wilson Waitimo, member number 113209. My question is, at the zone level, who is supposed to call up the meeting? Is it the chairman, or is it the chairman, or who is supposed to call the meeting? Okay, I have a second question. Swali ya pili ni hii. Watu wengine wanachaguliwa bila kujua. Tuseme mtu amechaguliwa kama education committee or a credit supervisory committee. When they are elected, are they supposed to be given or rather to be educated to know exactly the role of the work they are supposed to do?
Thank you, Bwana Waitimo. Yes, the last one from Pasin.
I heard that they were saying when they are electing members, I heard from the leader who was directing us how we are supposed to do, that somebody, if you are elected as a member and you have a certain crime somewhere, or you have committed something which is not suitable to all members here, how are you going to know that this person has done 1, 2, 3? He is not eligible to be elected, and you are not a CID. You are not. How are you going to know?
Asante Bwana Pasin. Bwana Eric, ni vizuri ujibu.
Thank you, sir. In no particular order, let me begin with you. Chapter 6, see chapter 7. Kuta kitu itafanyika hapa inaitwa vetting. If you are interested, we will ask you to apply. Okay? And you will be given, when the vacancies are announced, you'll also be told that these are the things we expect you to do what? To attach to your application. So kwa mfano wanaweza sema, tuonyeshe help clearance yako. Mimi najua ya CRB inaweza leta tashwishi kidogo. Hata mimi ya CRB ukienda unaweza pata jina yangu iko pale. Because we are humans, isn't it? But we will ask you, kwa mfano, ulete ile ya EACC, those things for DCI, so that we are sure that you are the kind of person we are looking for. So we will know, because we'll ask you to attach some things to your application. By the way, tukisema you need to apply or attach these things, si ati unatuletea ati nimelipa. Bring us the clearance certificate. Tunaelewana? Are we together? You know, I ran into trouble sometime in Western Kenya asking to go pamoja in 2017. So I want to pick my words very carefully. So please, so there's going to be vetting, okay? Possibly this is touching on the next bit, but the next bit is contingent on if you adopt this, because you see, there's going to be mtu anataka kuwa delegate, then they'll apply to be delegates, they'll be told the things to attach, they get to go through a vetting process, and we will be told you have met the criteria or you have not met the criteria, isn't it? At the point of vetting delegates, hii itafanyika CEO na watu wake, the staff. There is a different vetting that happens if you want to become a board member. That one is going to be chaired by the commissioner's office, all right? So we'll tell you that this is what we expect. If you don't meet the criteria, they must write back to you and tell you you have not met criteria and this is why. So kwa mfano, labda tumesema 200,000 ili ukue delegate. Sasa leo uko na 200, but tumesema by the close of the previous financial year, maybe at the end of that financial year ulikuwa na 198. Taambiwa tu, mkubwa, kila kitu ilikuwa sawa, lakini tulisema ilifaa kuwa 200, na wewe mwaka tukifunga ilikuwa ngapi? Ilikuwa chini ya hiyo 200. So to be fair to everybody, sisi tunachukua watu wa 200 kwenda mbele as of 31st December. Mambo kama hayo. Pili, roles of delegates. Yes? So there are two things that are going to happen, and what you're saying is going to touch on to even your question. Okay? You see the things we have said are the roles or the duties of the general meeting. Those are the things that the delegates must do. But there's going to be another document we are likely to come up with called a membership policy. Here, delegates must be educated as to what is expected of them. Kumbuka sasa tunasema, tumekuchagua ufanye nini? So you're representing some people, which means you cannot come and say, I think. You can come and say, we, the people of Wangige, are thinking. Tunaelewana? You will have your own opinion. By the way, being a delegate can be a very punishing experience, because your ideas can be very different from the ideas of the people who have done what? Who have elected you. But we have chosen you to bring whose ideas? Yeah, so, you know, sometimes we complain because our MPs, they behave badly, because they go and they do some things. Do you remember somebody was told, can we go and vote for some of these things in your constituency? We see what the people will say. So you have been elected to go and represent certain people, isn't it? So you must speak to the aspirations, the desires, and the resolutions of the people you are representing. So delegates lazima watasomeshwa, waelezwe what exactly is expected of them. 2, if a delegate is suspected, the nature of the suspension comes into play. You see, You as members, you can decide that you don't want somebody to be your delegate. That is one. Two, the board might also feel that there is somebody who is disturbing them at this level, and they suspend that person at that level, isn't it? So the nature and the point of suspension is significant because it will determine how we treat that suspension. Kama members wamesema hawanitaki, hiyo mimi sasa natembea na Yesu. Imeisha hapo. Board might suspend me because they don't think that I'm being a good delegate. And if that happens, the board must come to the zone and say, mlitupatia Eric, lakini huyu Eric tunaona hii kazi imemleme, tupatieni tu mtu mwingi, sivyo? But I might also be suspended by the board as an ordinary member because maybe I am a delegate, but I have become dormant. And so the board is saying, okay, this guy who is dormant, atudhani anaezana na ile kitu, or I might do something that the SACCO would suspend an ordinary member for. And again, when that happens, the normal procedure for suspension of members is already captured in your bylaws, whereby suspension does not go beyond 12 months. Suspended members are given a chance to defend themselves. It comes to the apex decision making. What on Amboa, we suspended so and so because of this. But if somebody happens to be your delegate, then itakuja kwenyu kwa zonal meeting, mtaelezwa kwamba mko na member ambaye alisuspendiwa because of 1, 2, 3. Okay? So you will always know that somebody has been suspended and this is the reason. Why? Why is this important? Delegate, kama mlichagua mtu kama delegate, inamaanisha that person is potentially very popular, isn't it? Yeah. And if I know I'm popular and I'm being removed, what is the easy thing for me to say? Wametufanya hivi. That is when the Kenyans in us kick in and say, sisi kama watu wa Wangige, tunaona hii SACCO haitupeleki vizuri. Sisi kama watu wa Dagoretti, tunaona kama tunafinywa. So, the SACCO, the board will always explain to you why somebody has been suspended. All right? If at zone level, who calls for the meetings? Members of a zone can call for a meeting in their zone. Because you might feel that there is something pertinent that you'd like to do what? To discuss. That's why I said you don't lose your rights. 2, members of a zone can start agitating that their delegates push for a general meeting to be what? To be discussed. Because you might discuss something in your zone, but it is not the final decision making, isn't it? But you start calling your delegates and telling them, now, us in our zone, we have called for this meeting, we have talked about it, and this is what we think we need to do. Please pass this message on our behalf to the rest of the delegates at the annual delegates meeting. So in your zone, you can call for a meeting. But at the general meeting level, you have delegates who are supposed to organize for the calling of a meeting at that level, okay? So if there are things which indeed we are seeing are in the best interest of this organization, then the delegates will act on our behalf. Our act is very interesting because saa zingine tunaita mkutano, hakuna quorum. Sheria inasema tufanye nini? You postpone to within 30 days. Okay? When that other meeting is happening, if you don't have quorum, tuseme mlisema tunaanza saa 4 asubuhi, you give it 1 hour. Tukifika saa 5 na hakuna quorum, we have our meeting anyway. Because you cannot be held at ransom continuously or in perpetuity by people who are not interested in listening to this thing that is important to you. So don't imagine that now, mahali tumefika, tukitaka kuwe na mkutano majadiliano, we can't have it. But you have to understand, in your zones, if you want to have a meeting in your zone specifically, all right, you communicate to your delegates, but you also communicate to the office. Because sometimes we abuse the stipulation of having meetings, and then we come and we find that this is a customer care exercise. Ni kitu yenye watu wawili watatu wangeketi tungei tatua. But if there are weighty things, you are allowed to do what? To call for a meeting. And yes, election of delegate, education. Delegates, if you happen to be elected, you can be sure There will be a day somebody will come and talk to you about the roles of delegates exclusively. And you will be reminded every single day, twice on Sunday, that this is your role as a delegate. The good book says remind them even if they know, isn't it? We will remind you every day as a delegate, this is what we expect. This is what we expect. Hatutaki uchaguliwe ukuwe delegate and then you only show up siku ya AGM. There might be some messages that are leaving the board to reach the members. You may be the channel through which this message is going to pass. So we will always remind you. There are decisions which you make as a delegate which now the ordinary member might not be involved in directly. Like when we are discussing how to pass the budget, isn't it? It is the delegates who determine passing of budget. We have said that the annual delegates meeting is the one that can decide that now we have resolved we want to open a branch in Ruaka, for example. This is where that decision is made, isn't it? So the people who are delegates must understand the role that they play, so that they don't just assume that wanakuanga wanaenda mkutano, wanakuja, labda wanalipwa transport na wanasikia vizuri, alafu kidogo they punish somebody by electing somebody out. No. Delegates must understand, and that's why we said part of their role is to hold the board accountable. They must make sure that the people they are picking are people who can move this SACCO forward. By the way, just so you know, in fact, I told the board members that this thing, it has come, understand that you're likely to be the first casualties of whatever is going on here. So don't sit comfortable and imagine that you're a board member, you will always be a board member. It is likely that in 3 years, we'll have very different faces here. And I could see they were uncomfortable. But it is the real. Yes, as ingine mambo ni one time, as ingine inaenda mzuri. Tunaenda tu, bora sisi tuelewe kwamba kazi yetu ni kuishi vizuri na wale ambao wamefanya nini? Wametuchagua. Ukifanya kazi vizuri, tunakupatia ingine ufanye nini? Uendelee. Ukilemewa pia tunakwambia wewe, park gari sisi tuendelee na safari na watu wengine. Sivyo? So that goes for delegates, that goes for the supervisory committee and members of the board. Because you might be elected, you come into the board, but you're not very clear on exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, isn't it? So just because you don't know does not mean that we should punish you. One of the rights of a board member is to be educated once they have been elected. In fact, there's normally a board orientation process so that every board member understands what their specific role is as an official, what the role of their subcommittee is, how their role affects another subcommittee, and basically how we organize ourselves. Because hizi vitu nimesema that we're sitting in subcommittees. Naweza kuwa kwa credit committee mwaka, next year nitakuwa finance, hiyo mwaka ingine nitakuwa education. Sivyo? Let me not find my place in a space that I don't understand what is going on. So it is a right of a board member to be oriented into how the board, to be inducted, that is the word I'm looking for, into how the board operates. So if you happen to be successful in finding yourself in these spaces, you can be sure that the organization will take all the steps to make sure that you are comfortable in executing your mandate. Sawa sawa? Poleni, saa zingine naanza Kiingereza mingi. Nasahau. Uzuri ni nyinyi ndio mlinisomesha, nilisoma tu karibu na hapa. So mimi ni kijana yenu.
Thank you, Bwana Eric. I'll pick another question. Then on ICT, and we have online members who are following us. Is the time now to put any question online, such that we are able to answer. Even the online members are part of this meeting. So I'm giving them the opportunity to put at least any of the questions such that the consultant may be able to answer. On this part, and for the members who are present, and I will just ask if there is any question, any other question. I'll pick at least one or two.
Members, good Is it? I think it's afternoon. Good afternoon, members. I'm Mr. Mboro, and I have heard what Eric has said to us. Actually, this one, going the delegates' way, it gives growth. So I'm supporting it highly. I'm supporting it highly, and we could have done it wrong time, and we could have had so many branches with this delegate system. Now, however, I have some reservations. Like if we go to page 5, I don't know whether it has been existing, but it is coming in, because I know we insure our loans. That one I know. We insure our loans. But now, page 5, number 15, it says, for example, if I die, I like Eric. Eric is saying very well that kufa lazima. So now there is this person who is called an admitted nominee. Now I have seen another SACCO. Somebody went and had not nominated anybody, but the next of kin who came in was given all his money. This one of ours says that if by chance a member joins and has not nominated anybody or something like that, I am not, this word unadmitted, Eric, you can explain to us better. But my understanding is the value of the deceased member's deposits, the money you have deposited, plus interest, it will be given to that person less any sums due. Does it mean if I have like 300,000 deposits and I have a loan of 250,000, they will deduct the 250,000 from the loan, then they give the nominee 50,000. That one I feel it's either coming or I know, or I should be informed about that, because when the insurance is there, the nominee should be given, whether nominated or not, I think should be given everything, because the insurance is there and we pay dearly on the insurance. The other one, members, I have another one. I think I have 3 questions. Let's go to page 7. Page 7. Page 7. There is a statement there. Page 7, on the right hand, you see there's a Roman 2, Roman 3, Roman 4. Go with me, Roman 5. Then when you, not Roman 5, Roman 6, and then Roman 7. When you're in Roman 7, it is saying, erect zone representatives whose number shall be determined by the board. It can be, I agree. But now this one is challenged, Mr. Eric, by saying that now it should be 110. Meaning, these numbers are already determined as we speak. Because where is the 110 coming from? And I have seen somewhere, I think 162, something like that. So I was of the idea that the members, we should know that where is the 162 coming from? How many are in Kikuyu? How many are in Dagoretti? You know, a starting point. I laid down stone where we are stepping. This is where we are starting. So that members can say yes, or they can give their opinion. I did not understand in the same page, number C. In the same page, C. Down there, just when you omit the word meeting, then you go to that, meetings. So, conveyance of the resolutions of each electoral zone to the general meeting by the elected delegates of such zones. Utanieleza hiyo. Ndio nipate kuelewa na members pia waelewe. Now, let's go to data 2. That is page 9. That's a typo error. You know, when I read thoroughly sometimes. That's a typo error. So, data 2, you see data 2? Then go down A. If you say board of directors of the SACCO society shall, then it should not be ticks. It should be tick. You know, hata ukipresent kitu kwa sasa, waone sisi ni members about tunaelewa hata Kiingereza kidogo. So it should be tick, not ticks. Sorry for that. Let me see. Now, the other thing, I have heard you talk about delegates being removed so many times. Now I was asking, is a board member, cannot a board member be removed from the board? And if the person cannot be removed, what is the amnesty? If the person can be removed as well, so what is the threshold? What's the criteria? Because nimeongea sana ukiongea juu ya delegates, upande ule mwingine wa board kama there's a kind of a reservation. Now, and also, and maybe I was late, I did not hear how we are electing the board of directors, because from the experience I have, the board of directors should come from the delegates to the board, but not the board now dictating to to the delegates. Actually, the delegates have the supreme authority, as the way I know it, compared to what the board has. Because now the delegates, members tuelewe hapa, delegates watakuwa na act kwa niaba yetu. From that time, we might not even be coming for AGMs. It is the delegates to be coming for the. Kwa hivyo hapo tuelewe vizuri.
Thank you, Mr. Buru. Another member.
Good afternoon. Mimi naitwa Daniel Kirogo, member number 11622 from Dagoretti. Thank you for the good presentation, our facilitator, and a very good proposal. I had a question, and I think you'll guide me whether I'm overthinking. So on page 12, where we are talking about the how a delegate should be elected and shall not be an active member for a consecutive of 2 years. I was asking myself if we are to go and have another zone, how we are going to consider that criteria of the 2 years. The last one of the supervisory committee, I like the fact that you talked about the capacity, and I'm an auditor by profession, and because I've worked on external audit, there's an area we'll need to really think about, the IT and the developments that are going on. I don't know whether that is captured in the bylaws. Now we are moving to the AI. That is an area that, as much as we started so very many years, those are areas that the world is going, and we want NRS to be compliant with the SACCO and all that. So being a supervisory committee and having someone in finance, also the IT capacity, we need to really emphasize on that, because we know that this is where the world is, and this is where NRS is going. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
Thank you. So, Bwana Buru, is it? Yes. Now, the first question is, what happens when we're talking about payment to an unadmitted nominee? Because somebody is going to tell us that if I am called, if I'm promoted to glory, this is how I expect you to do what? To distribute. The first thing that the SACCO is supposed to do is to reach out to these people and try to get them to be members. Okay? That is the first option. There are those who will say, yes, absolutely, I will join. There are those who will say, no, I am not interested. You've mentioned something critical, that the SACCO does have what? Insurance. The contract you have for insurance has got certain conditions. For example, you know you cannot insure for loan default. Yes? If you insure for loan default, the premium becomes expensive, because everybody will borrow and default knowing that insurance will do what? So you cannot insure for loan. So what happens if somebody is an insurer and they are called to be with the Lord? We must have an orderly way of dealing with whatever you have left behind. And that is where we are saying there might be some things you owe us. So if that situation arises, we will take what is ours and we give your nominees what is theirs. Iko sawa. But try as much as possible, dear members. If you know you are behind in your loan repayments, just try to regularize your account. Because nobody knows the time that we will be called. So just make sure that you are up to date, particularly when it comes to loan repayments. If something happens and you are recalled and we have a difficult experience with our insurer, because they might say the condition was that we were covering loans that are performing, isn't it? This member has passed on, but their loan was not performing, a condition for exclusion. And I can assure you, people in insurance, they will look for all reasons not to pay. So if that sort of scenario happens, and that is how that comes up. Now, number of zone reps. We have said we have 162. So we've capped the number. Some zones have more. I think Kikuyu is the biggest. Kikuyu has got the highest number of members, isn't it? So it would make sense to have more delegates in Kikuyu, isn't it? Now the number is 162. If we experience some, let me not call it abnormal. If we experience fantastic growth in, let's say, Dagoretti, okay? Suddenly Dagoretti have just mobilized members and they are active. Until now, they are having as many members as Kikuyu. Remember, we've capped the number at 162, isn't it? It means for every delegate we are going to add one zone, another zone must do what? Must lose, isn't it? This is bringing the idea of competition amongst yourselves. If you want to have many delegates, make sure you are able to recruit many active members. So, that distribution of the 162, the board is going to be sharing with us based on our statistics every year that this is what is happening. Hawa wameongezeka, kwa hivyo wakati huu watu wa Kikuyu ama watu wa Wangige mkiona mmenyang'anywa si ati kwa sababu siasa imekuwa mbaya. There will be a basis why your delegates have done what? Has shifted downwards, okay? There was a question about conveyance of resolutions. Mtakuwa mkiketi kwa zonal meeting, mnazungumza, mnakubaliana. Remember, the zone is going to have a chairperson, a vice, and a secretary. They will be bringing their resolutions to us in the delegates meeting. In fact, kila ADM, zone chairman atasimama aseme, sisi kama watu wa Wangige, these are our resolutions. Sisi kama watu wa Nderi, these are our resolutions. Sisi kama watu wa Dagoretti, these are our zitakuwa zinafikia the delegates. Removal of board. Sikuzungumzia because it was not an aspect of the bylaw review. I was focusing on the sections where there are changes. But because you ask, pale kwa board pia, kuingia ni either amechaguliwa ama amekuwa co-opted. Njia za kutoka ni mingi, ni kama 7. Ya kwanza, members wanaweza sema huyu jamaa tumtaki. Afanye nini? Akwende. Ya pili, tunaweza badilisha eligibility criteria, alafu wakati wa uchaguzi inafika na haja timiza, sivyo? Ya tatu, SASRA inaweza suspend huyu jamaa kutoka kwa board. Because the authority might say, this person is not making decisions in the best interest of the SACCO, isn't it? So, SASRA will suspend, and then the delegates meeting will confirm the removal. There are some people who have come here from the office of the commissioner. Ogopa hawa watu. Kwa sababu commissioner akisema tembea, hiyo ni one way umeenda. Those are 4, si ndio? 5, mtu anaweza jitoa. Aseme, hii mzigo imekuwa mzito kidogo, mimi sioni kama nitaweza. 6, you can be called to be with the Lord, and that means automatically you leave. 7, a simple majority of board members can suspend one of themselves. Sasa akisuspendiwa, AGM itafanya nini? Delegates meeting ita confirm kama aende ama abaki. But that was not a subject of the review because those are already quite elaborately captured within the document. So you will see ati I'm avoiding. I was restricting myself to the areas. By the way, tukisema tunazungumzia bylaw, hii ni kitu ya siku 3. Okay? Bwana Daniel. So what happens if we have a situation whereby we have a new zone? Okay? There's a process for you starting a new zone. Kwa mfano, tuseme mnataka kufungua branch ya Naivasha. Kitu ya kwanza mtafanya ni kuanza kurecruit watu ambao wako wapi? Naivasha, sivyo? Mkiona wamekuwa wengi, you might decide sasa tukue na satellite office itusaidie na mambo ya kuwasiliana na hao watu. So we are still not giving them delegates, we just have a way that we are operating with them, isn't it? Then one day they might become many and they say, hey, tumekuwa wengi lakini we feel like we are not, sauti yetu haifikii mahali kule ambapo huwa mnafanya nini? Where you make decisions. And so at that point we will say, now because you are so many, we are giving you so many delegates. Okay? That decision will be made here. Because remember, we have capped the number of delegates in our bylaw to 162. So that day we might decide, okay, now we can add the number of delegates to 180, It does not mean that we have given Naivasha 18 delegates. It means now, based on the membership in Naivasha, tutapiga hiyo formula ya kufanya nini? Kudistribute, tuone inaenda namna gani na tuambie okay, tumeongeza delegates wamefika 180, kulingana na numbers yenu, nyinyi mnaweza pata delegates wa 7. So, siku ya uchaguzi, mnapata wasa. But you see, as all these things are happening, somebody is a member. So it is possible 2 years will have done what? Will have passed. All right? With regard to supervisory committee, if you look at the bylaws with regard to the qualifications for a member of the supervisory committee, their qualifications are exactly the same as the qualifications for an ordinary board member. So when we say that we need somebody to have some IT, basic IT kidogo, hata kwa supervisory, it also carries. But it's a good point you make, because where the world is moving, there are some things that we have to get comfortable with. There are some changes that we have to start adopting, particularly if we want to be a vibrant and efficient SACCO. Sawa sawa? I think those are the... I hope I've answered them adequately. Thank you. So, do Gen Z qualify to be members? Niliwaambia. Yes, let me speak to you now officially, dear Gen Z. You do qualify to be a member. The eligibility criteria, we've said that as long as you're over the age of 25, you have saved over 200,000 Kenya shillings, you have raised your share capital to over 20,000 Kenya shillings, and you meet the rest of the eligibility criteria, you do qualify. So yes, pia wewe unaweza kuja kuwa delegate, and also you can be a director. Just make sure you work hard to meet the eligibility criteria. Ni hayo tu. Ukishaingia upande huu mwingine sasa jitetee. But dear Gen Z, I want to appeal to you. Recruit your colleagues, because this SACCO is not for old people only. It is for everybody. And the way SACCOs operate is about having many people. You see, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with people. Carry people with you. So we encourage you to join. We encourage you to recruit. We encourage you to be part of this journey. These people who we have here, who are of the more senior demographic, they didn't get to do the wonderful things they've done in life by doing it alone. Wakati utataka alone utahitaji guarantors. Hiyo jenzi mwenzako ambaye hajaingia hapa ndiye atakugarantii. So you make sure you recruit mbogi yako yote na wenzao wengine. Mmekaribishwa. Who else is remaining? Chairman, naona utanipatia marketing commission leo. Jenzis wakikuja wengi. So you're also eligible. Just follow the eligibility criteria, you will be fine.